You might want to run the volatile skeleton cards, but maybe you don't need this big 8-mana card. That was a clip from one of my Murder at Castle Nathria card reviews, and as the data has started to roll in, we can see that Young Uncorrupt, or at least Younger Uncorrupt, was actually on to something. 8-mana Kel'Thuzad, just not getting it done. You can see here by looking at the drawn win rate, it's one of the lowest in the deck. Kel'Thuzad not acting as the finisher that a lot of people thought he would be. KT really just looking like more of a board in a box. He gets stuck in your hand, he's a little bit clunky, and you'd really rather him be any other card that was in your deck. So we're actually going to bench Kel'Thuzad, and we're going to call up Bran Bronzebeard, stick him in this version of the deck. I think this is going to give us our best chance to be able to go out on the ladder and win some games. Against Hunter, in the mulligan, we're just looking for stuff to do. Cold Case, probably just a little bit too slow. We're looking for a little bit of our cheaper, earlier game stuff. Snow Flurry is a good pickup. Flurry could be good as well. It's not Quest Hunter, so it's likely that we're facing some type of Wild Seed Hunter. Just not sure if it's going to be aggro or if it is going to be some version of Big Beast. Could be either or. And I think I want to go ahead and ping the 2/3 here. The reason why is it just freezes it, prevents it from attacking, so if they're able to buff it, it's going to stay frozen. We'll be able to freeze it again with the Nightcloak Sanctum. And you can see here that it does get buffed. So we're going to freeze it, and then the damage is going face. We're basically just going to try to beat down our opponent. Next turn will be a Cold Case, and we can actually even just freeze one of our opponent's minions. Stag is actually really good. That 4/2 weapon does work. But we're going to continue along with our game plan, and I want to freeze the 4/5. Only freezing one minion here, it's not great. We're going to keep it frozen for as long as we can. Hoping to not see a Wild Spirits. Wild Spirits is going to get this in play one turn faster, and the extra minions are just going to be tough to deal with as well. Terror Coil comes down. And we are just going to try to continue to build our board, I think. We hit a Frozen Touch. Don't want to do anything with that until it's infused. And I think we're actually going to need to make some trades here. Or do we? If we just shove face, what happens? If we go face, we probably just get destroyed. We will freeze this 4/3. I'm going to make this trade as well. Push face, and then we'll just ping this guy off. So if our opponent does have the Wild Spirits, it puts a lot of minions on the board. They get the weapon in hand. It's going to make it significantly harder for us. Erelon, not as strong, but they still have the Terror Coil buff active. This is just going to be a Deathborn. Yeah, this is absolutely just going to be a Deathborn. So you can see here the game plan is actually just more of trying to kill our opponent, more so than playing it like a control deck. If you're playing this as a control deck, you're probably not winning as many games as you could be. We've been able to hit the board and kind of go aggro. Wild Spirits here is still really good for our opponent. We do have an infused Frozen Touch. Might actually have to use both copies. Zavara's going to be able to give us some spells back. Yeah, there is the Wild Spirits, so a lot of things are going to be hatching here. Our opponent is frozen, though, so they're not going to be able to swing that big 4/2 weapon. They have 2 rushers. And Stag's almost irrelevant at this point because it's going to be overriding an existing weapon. They are going to be 5/4s that hatch at some point, though. We're still really healthy, though. Sir Finley. So, we can Frozen Touch this. We have 6 face. Yeah, so we're going to get this guy out of the way. Then we're going face with these guys. Get Sabara in play and get our spells back here. And we have a flurry, so we're going to freeze him. And then we're going to flurry, and that's actually going to give us a full freeze on the board here. Pass turn, no reason to Finley. And you can see our opponent just loses. We were actually able to out-aggro an aggro hunter. Against Shaman this time, again, we're just looking for things to do in the early game. I'm going to keep the Arcane Intellect. It's just something to do on turn 3. It's going to draw us some cards. Yes, we'll be able to go 1, potentially 2, 3. Sorceress, just a good pickup for us here. Allows us to get a 2-drop on the board. We'll be able to draw cards. And actually our turn 3 could even be this. We'll see how it goes from there. And we see that we're actually playing against a rogue here, so the freezes could be very, very important. Being able to draw cards is going to be really good for us. And definitely want to just go ahead and Arcane Intellect here. If we play this, it discounts the highest cost spell, and we would float a mana. So we're going to go ahead and draw 2 and push face. Wildfire, potentially a good pickup. So our opponent being rogue, they're going to be looking to, get a big weapon from Necrolord Draka, and they're going to be looking to get big minions off of their location. And we see the location already coming down here, which is bad news for us. But the fact that they actually just played a 2/2 is good news for us. So we are going to just go ahead and get our Sorceress down. That's going to discount our Deathborn. And then we can just play the Wildfire, and we're going to go face here. So in a pretty decent spot, we'll be able to Deathborn on 5 into Dawn Grasp on 6. Want to be careful about potentially casting other Frost spells if we want the Deathborn back. And if the Deathborn actually doesn't seem worth, maybe we don't play it. We might actually rather the Frost spell be a Flurry off of Dawn Grasp. The hero card, that is. And we do have 1 board freeze, which is going to be good. We don't want to use this too soon. Really would like to be able to wait until it's going to be more impactful to freeze. What we expect is going to be like 10 or 12 attack minions. Could be Edwin, could be locations. Amplified Snow Flurry would also be a good pickup, being able to freeze our opponent's face, just so they can't punch us with the Necrolord Draka weapon. The top deck is Sanctum, which I think we just play. So we could ping and kill this 2/2. We could trade for the 2/2. Or we can just Sanctum and freeze. And I think I like the Sanctum freeze, so we can do this, freeze here, push face, and then that means we're going to have Deathborn next turn. If our opponent takes a value trade with this, then this also dies to the Deathborn, and then the following turn we're going to have Dawn Grasp, which is going to replay the Deathborn again. Likely going to be seeing a bit of a bigger minion coming out of this graveyard. This weapon is actually pretty small. They've Shadow Stepped the Draka, though, which is going to allow them to be able to replay it. So I think we just go ahead and set up to remove as much as we can from our opponent's board. And we're just going to keep to the plan. We're going to Deathborn here. That gets our minions back, and we pass turn. And then we'll be able to follow that up with a Magister Dawn Grasp. It's going to get us a little bit of health, and we'll be able to get more 2/2s back as well. They're going to be making some trades here. They're going to hit us for an additional 4. And likely another 4 next turn as well. Not a whole lot we can do about that. So we can freeze Crab face and play the Dawn Grasp. It's going to replay our Deathborn. It's also going to draw some cards from the Arcane Intellect that we played earlier in the game. Also a Wildfire. We draw a Cold Case. Crab is actually removed. So our hero power is 4 and we have 8 on the board. Essentially just setting up lethal. Here comes the Edwin. Not super concerned about the Edwin. We need to keep our health as high as possible to be able to stay out of range of the burn that they might have in the form of Wicked Stab or Tooth of Nefarian. But whatever board they're able to make, we're going to be able to freeze with the Dawn Grasp if we don't have lethal. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to Dawn Grasp and Cold Case. And we see a 5 attack weapon. Again, we can freeze this. The damage does not go face. We have a flurry as well, so do we have lethal? We don't have any way of being able to get extra damage face. We just have 10. Could actually, like, Dawn Grasp and Flurry to remove minions. Doesn't really seem all that important. Flurry is only going to freeze 2. We could kill this. Trade for this. Hero power goes to 6. Really want to be able to set up lethal for next turn. Are they going to be able to have 10 points of burn? They have to have 3 damage spells. Still 13 cards in the deck. I believe we're just going to, we're going to freeze their board and we're going to go face. And we're going to ping face to set up lethal here. So basically we've put on our opponent on having to kill us. We weren't able to finish them off. It didn't make sense to gain armor and leave the board unfrozen. It didn't really make sense to play the Flurry. They're going to need both Wicked Stabs and a Tooth of Nefarian in order to finish us off here. Still 12 cards left in the deck. I believe this was going to be our best chance to be able to win. We can't really play around them having 3 out of 4 burn cards. Opponent goes back to 7. So we're likely just going to Flurry. Freeze as we'll be able to freeze 3 out of 4 of these minions. Let's see, they're at 7. Burning the Frozen Touch was bad. So we're going to freeze this. We're going to Flurry, and then we're just going to heal as much as we can here with the Cold Cases. And we're going to put on our opponent on, again, just having to have burn spells to be able to kill us here. We're at 18, our opponent has 8, so again, our opponent is going to need 3 burn spells. Unfortunately, the Edwin coming back down. And our opponent digging through their deck very hard. They may actually be able to find it here. Pretty unlikely that we survive at this point. Trading is good for us. That's a sign that they actually don't have lethal. Ideally, we would have killed the 3-2. Killing a 3-2 would be best, unless this is some form of extended BM. If we snipe the 3-2, we may actually be able to survive. And it looks like we actually win. Thank you for watching. If you're interested in more content from me, you can check out this suggested video just for you. Thank you again. I'm Uncorrupt. Good luck out on the ladder.